Hello, hello! What's up, everyone? Oh my god, I'm sitting on my dress. Yeah, welcome to my live stream. I'm so excited for my upcoming concert in Milan. And by the way, you can still get some tickets on the link in the description box. I've put it there. I hope I put it there. I'm pretty sure I put there. And today we are going to have a little live stream for the rehearsal, because this is always helping me a lot to get just this feeling of someone is there and listens, even though you're not really here, but I feel like someone is there, and that helps me a lot actually, to just get into this performance mode. So yeah, let me know in the comments, in the chat, where do you come from? Are you maybe coming to Milano as well on the 19th of July? It's already this Saturday. And yeah, I will play the full program, which means all 4 Chopin ballades, the Pathétique Sonata by Beethoven, and Children's Corner by Claude Debussy. And I will talk about each and every piece a little bit, so you get a little bit of an introduction to each piece, and yeah, hopefully you're going to listen a little bit differently to it. I hope that helps. Oh, Edo Krem is going to be there. Hi! I think we met on a masterclass. Pretty sure. Hello back to Australia and to Canada. Oh, so many people from all around the world here. I won't be able to read the comments simultaneously while I'm playing, obviously, but I just wanted to do a quick sound check so everyone can actually hear what I'm playing. Therefore, I'm going to turn down the mic because I'm going to just do everything through this mic today. Just let me know if you can hear something. Okay, that was my quick sound check. Let me know if it's hearable, if it's too loud, if it's too soft. I can't really change a lot, but I hope the sound quality is okay for this. Okay, yeah, sound's working. Sound is working. Someone is writing that the voice is a little bit low. I mean, I can turn the mic up, but I'm a little bit afraid that then the sound is going to be cut, especially on loud parts. But yeah, maybe I'll just won't put it that quiet then. Anyways, all right. I don't want to do too much of blah blah. Let's talk about music. So, as I already said, I'm going to perform in Milano on the 19th of July, and I'm very, very excited for that one. I'm going to play all 4 Chopin ballades, the Pathétique Sonata from Beethoven, and also Children's Corner by Claude Debussy. You'll find the tickets and information in the description box. And today we are going to play the full program just like that. Now, before we get started, you see this little snowman here. If you want to donate something and support my work, you can just go and have a look at the description box there. There's a link where you can apparently donate something, so I'll be very happy if you do so. Otherwise, you can also use the super chat, and then I'll be able to read your comments, because they are going to stay longer there, in case I'm just playing in that moment and I can't read your comments. All right, then we'll start with the introduction of the program. I'm going to play all 4 Chopin ballades. However, I've decided to not put them all into one half of the concert, but I'm going to divide them up, to split them up, because actually Chopin didn't write them as a cycle. He didn't write it, for example, like the Chopin etudes. They are constructed as one big cycle, let's say. So you are supposed to play all of them through if you're playing all of them. Now, for the Chopin ballades, it's different. It's like all of them are a piece on themselves. All of them are telling different stories. You can kind of think of the stories that people think the ballades are based on. Basically, people thought that the Chopin ballades are based on poems, like Polish poems. However, there is no real evidence that the music fits perfectly the poems. And actually, I think that if he really wanted the ballades to fit these perfectly, then he would compose it differently, and he would also write a title for each ballad. However, he left the titles blank. Like it's for us to put our own imagination into them. So I'll just tell you what I imagine out of all the ballades, starting with the very first one. So in the very first ballad, we are starting off with like a very dark character, if you want. It's a little bit like a demon or the devil in the beginning. And so on and so on. And then there is like this devil person is wandering around in the world and asking himself questions, is like searching maybe for love, for someone to accompany him. And then we are entering that second character, which is super beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful things. Sorry. Whatever. This is this character basically. Which comes first? Sorry, I couldn't remember my checkpoint right now, which is going to be difficult for me. Anyways, so we have these two different characters that are playing with and against each other, and I have this imagination of like the devil is falling in love with that angel, which is the second character, and they are having a great time together, which is the part where everything is just bursting out and it's like it's loud and it's joyful, which is the middle part of the piece. And then it's falling back into this depressive thoughts of that devil, of not knowing exactly where it's going to. And then the end is basically pure chaos. So I don't want to talk too much. I'm going to play now. As I said, I won't be able to read your comments simultaneously, but I'll get back to it. Now let's play Chopin Ballade number 1. All right, that was the very first ballade of Frédéric Chopin, one of the most famous pieces he ever composed. And my God, it's so hot here. And there is a stupid fly flying around somewhere, which irritated me in the beginning. I hope you didn't see it. Thank you so much to Joachim Veit for donating $100. Thank you so much. By the way, you can just, if you want to feed the snowman, you can just check out the link. In the description box, there is somewhere a link where you can donate something if you want to support me and my work. But also you can just use the super chat, just like Joachim did, so I can read your comments because they will stay there longer. All right, we are going to continue now. Not with the second ballade, as I already mentioned. I'm not going to play them in a row. I'm going to break it up. Now I'm going to play Beethoven. Beethoven's Pathetique Sonata, one of the most famous sonatas Beethoven ever composed. And why is it so famous? It was actually already famous when he composed it. So not just like 300 years later, it was already like a real big success when Beethoven published it back then. And Beethoven was not even 30 years old. Like, he was, I believe, 27, 28 when he composed the Pathetique Sonata. And it has a lot of special moments. It starts very different from what he composed before, because there is this very long introduction in Grave. Grave is not necessarily a tempo description, it's more a character description. So it's like this super heavy and like pushing you down kind of character. And what I think is so special about this piece is that you can really hear the symphony idea of Beethoven. Like, very often when you're playing his pieces, you can hear a big symphony orchestra, or like in the second movement here, for the Adagio Cantabile, you could think of a string quartet. And like, there are a lot of these very interesting things you could imagine with his music. So it's not necessarily only for pure piano. It's like for any kind of ensemble you could actually imagine it. So before I go into it, just a little reminder for everyone that's new here. Welcome to the live stream. I'm going to perform on the 19th of July in Milano. This is already this Saturday. You can still get tickets if you want. I'm going to play all 4 Chopin ballades, the Pathetique Sonata by Beethoven, and also the Children's Corner by Claude Debussy. Tickets and information you'll find in the description box. All right, let's go into the Pathetique Sonata. What I imagine in this very first movement is like this kind of storm that's already like it's announcing itself with this thunder strike in the very beginning. So when you're playing that very first chord, you can think of like that is this thunder, and then immediately we are in piano back. It's like this tension that's there directly before the storm starts. What I love about this very first movement is the huge contrast between fortissimo, pianissimo, but also between like the different registers that Beethoven, well, he didn't have. There's a fly. Beethoven didn't have all the 88 keys that we have today at the time that he wrote the Pathetique, but he used the extremes of the piano that he had back then. Also technically, like, this piece is one of the most virtuoso sonatas that Beethoven composed. So it was also kind of like a show-off piece for him to show off his virtuosity. And what I really like, and I think that's super interesting here, so we have this very loud beginning, this chord that's like super loud. It's supposed to be like a thunderstrike, I feel. And at the end of the very first movement, we have the same theme coming back. However, this time without the loud thunderstrike. And you can really feel how something is missing. And it actually feels like the silence that's there is much louder than the actual chord. And that's, to me, like, so powerful in this piece. Then we have the beautiful Adagio Cantabile second movement, which is one of the most famous melodies Beethoven composed. I guess all of you know this melody, and if not, you'll know it now. And then, of course, the third movement, which is a rondo. And a rondo basically means that you have the beginning theme, which is coming back and back again, and every time you're playing it, it's going to have a different turn, and the difficulty for me is to catch the right turn, actually. Because sometimes when you're so much into when you're like losing it a little bit, you're like, oh, which exit did I have to take now? Which is like very, very stupid sometimes. So yeah, I will play Beethoven now. The Beethoven Sonata is supposed to be one full piece. So in case you are in Milano at the concert this Saturday, just a little tip, please don't clap in between the movements, because we want to take the tension from one movement to the next. That's part of the art. However, actually, I have to admit that, back then, at the time, it was not like this. Like, people were clapping while you were playing, actually. Like, if you were showing off something, people were clapping. It's a little bit like in a jazz concert where someone is playing his solo and people are clapping while they are still playing. And back then it was actually a little bit like this. It's just nowadays that classical music is a little bit stiff, I feel. And so we have to just shut the up and play, and you as the audience, you're not even supposed to breathe in that time, but you're allowed to clap after I finish the last movement. All right, I will start playing Beethoven's Pathétique now. Like always, I can see your comments here. However, I try to not look at it while I play, so I can really focus on the music, and I will just have a look at it after I finished Beethoven's Pathétique. All right, that was Beethoven's Pathetique Sonata, also known as Opus 13. Actually, Beethoven never wrote the title Pathetique about it. Now we are going to continue with the second Chopin ballade. By the way, for everyone who is new here, I'm preparing for my concert in Milano. On the 19th July, this Saturday, I'm going to play the whole program, all four Chopin ballades, the Pathetique Sonata by Beethoven, and also the Children's Corner Suite by Debussy. Tickets and information you'll still find in the description box. All right, we are going to continue with the second ballade. The second ballade is, to me, one that has a very dramatic story. So basically, I imagine like a village, a very peaceful village in the beginning of the piece. It's a little bit like little children dancing around a tree. In Germany, we have a May tree, Maibaum. I don't know if you have the same in other cultures. Let me know in the comments actually. So basically, on the 1st May, we would put a very high, like kind of it's not a tree, but it's like a piece of wood that we put there in the middle of our village, and then we have like little children that have like very long pieces of fabric in different colors, and they would dance around the tree and just, you know, make it colorful. And it's a very, very beautiful tradition in Germany. Let me know if you have something like that, something similar in your country, in your culture. And I imagine this for the beginning of the piece. Toby Holder is asking, sorry for the interruption, if I can sign his Hanon exercises when he's coming to Milano. Of course, like there's going to be a meet and greet after the concert in Milano, and if you want to take pictures, have a talk, want me to sign something, as long as it's not a contract, I'll be happy to be there and to just get to know you, have a little talk. So yeah. Come around and say hi for sure. I'll be there. And yeah, so I imagine this very peaceful scene for the very beginning of the second ballade. And then I imagine that this village, this very innocent village, is being attacked by strangers, like people who are very aggressive here. And this attack comes out of nowhere, like it's like really kind of in the middle of the night when everything is peaceful and silent, and like the village is fighting for its life, and it's managing to actually push back the aggressor. And then you will hear the same theme in the beginning, but now it's stopping right before like. And then it's continuing differently. So you can really hear in that silence, it's like people are watching the houses that are destroyed and people that they lost in this war, basically. And I imagine a little bit Chopin thinking of his home country of Poland being invaded by the Russians. And to me, it's a little bit like this image here. And so over this middle part, it feels a little bit like this village is managing to get itself back on track and building things back up. And then the second attack happens. And this time it's just way more brutal, and you can really hear in these kind of this arpeggio coming from up down, I feel like it's a little bit like the scream of people that are like running around and screaming for their lives, and that's what I imagine when I think of when I'm playing this ballade. And then of course there's a very tragic end at the end. Thank you very much from Forger. Support from Taiwan! Oh my god! Thank you! For everyone who doesn't know, my mom is actually Taiwanese, so that feels very, very, I feel very connected to Taiwan actually. So this is my story about this ballade, and then we have at the very end, again coming back this very beginning theme. And this time, instead of feeling like a dance of small children dancing, it feels more like a bell that's ringing, like the death bell, if you want. So that's my tragic story of Chopin Ballade number 2. I don't want to talk too much. We are going to continue now with Chopin Ballade number 2. No, I messed up the ending. I'm so sorry. uh, anyways, oh no, I see that there are a lot of people are having ads in the middle of the playing. I'm so sorry. I've just put it on automatic in on YouTube, so I'm sorry if it was interrupting the playing. I would now have a break of around 15 minutes, so I'll just keep talking here and just let my arm rest a little bit before I continue with number 3. Just for everyone that's new here, I'm preparing for my concert on Saturday in Milano. I'm going to play all 4 Chopin ballades, the Beethoven Pathétique, and also Debussy's Children's Corner. I'm very, very excited for that, and I'm very happy to see you at the meet and greet after the concert. Tickets and information you will still find in the description box. All right, now I have a little bit of time here because actually I'm having a break. So I will just have a look at the comments and try to answer a couple of your questions in that time that I'm just resting my arm. Eric's is having a concert coming up. All the best for your concert. What you're going to play there, let me know in the comments. Uma Uzuna is asking, will there be a talking end of live? I guess you mean if I'm going to talk at the end of the live stream. It depends a little bit on how late it is going to be. I didn't plan the live stream to go longer than 3 hours for today, so let's see. Maluzi is asking, do you know Winter Wind from Chopin? Of course I know it. I've studied all Chopin etudes actually, and you can actually get my album on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Amazon Music, on everywhere. It's streaming everywhere. Just check out Annick Göttler Chopin etudes, and you will find my Winter Wind edition there. Roberto Galliano is asking, what's your favorite ballade? For a very long time it was the first one, but I have to admit now, after I've studied all of them, I don't have a favorite one anymore. It's like really you get to fall in love with all of them, and all of them are different and special on their own. And I think after finding like a story for each and every ballad, there is no way to say like, this is my favorite now. But let me know which ballads are your favorites. Let me know in the comments. Tiago Pinto is asking, when will you release 4 Ballads album? I am planning to record all the ballads. However, I would like to first give a little bit more time into the studying of them. I know it's a little bit different from what other pianists do. Most of the time they would first record it and then go on tour with it. I feel like I want to first make sure that I really found my own interpretation of the ballads before I record them. But I think either at the end of this year or maybe maybe beginning or middle of next year. I'm planning with that. Toby Holder is saying, I'm coming to see you from UK for my birthday. The Hanon book is one of my gifts. Oh, that's really nice. I'm looking forward to see you there. Antonio Arroyo is asking, how do you distribute your practice hours, especially when you were in your études era? Oh, in my études era, it was a very special thing because I couldn't practice so much fast, especially. But also, if I would only practice slow, it was so tiring for especially my right arm that I could not practice more than 4 hours a day. So 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon. Right now, I'm actually very busy with creating the app or the Keys Academy for the app My Groove. My Groove is an app where you're going to learn you can learn different instruments. And they asked me, it's actually a startup by Red Bull, and they asked me if I would love to do the Keys Academy. So I'm teaching piano playing in that app. And that app works basically like we are recording a lot of lessons, kind of. So I'm explaining, for example, how to play staccato, like all the different details in the techniques that you have to think of. And I'm explaining this in detail. We are doing lots of different exercises together. And you on your own, I'm explaining how to read scores. We are training to read scores better, so you're not like, you don't have to count the different notes, but you actually like just recognize, oh, that's a G, that's an A, that's a B flat, or whatever. And that's what we are doing right now. So we've just finished the basic level, which is going to post-production now, and then we are recording soon the advanced and pro levels, which are going to be super interesting. And my goal would be to learn a lot of different techniques like arpeggios, trills, runs, and so on. So you get all the tools to learn the Moonlight Sonata. So that's like our example, and that's the goal basically for the users to be able to play the full Moonlight Sonata after they went through the full academy, basically. So yeah, that's our goal with that My Groove Academy. Stay tuned if you're interested in that. I think it's a really cool app, and you can just, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see all the behind the scenes, and it's going to go live pretty soon, I think. Probably in September. They are planning to go live in September, but honestly, we are still recording, so maybe a little bit later. Nicolas Pro Piano 3 official is asking, will My Groove app be free? Unfortunately, no, it's not free, but I think it's around, I think it's like €15 or dollars a month, something like that. And of course, I'll get a little bit of reduction for you guys by using a code. You can get, I don't know how much a reduction you get. It depends on the code, I guess. Yeah. Erwin Schulhoff is asking, are you not tired of Chopin? I would be if I played him so much. I am not. To be honest, I love Chopin so much, and the more I study, the more fascinated I get by his music. And I can see that how do I say, Chopin's technique fits my technique very well, let's say, and I can see that it fits me naturally a little bit better than, let's say, Brahms or Beethoven. This kind of music is just very different, and the technique that is asked for it, like a natural type of technique for that, is very, very different. However, now you might ask, why am I still playing Beethoven? First of all, I love Beethoven. I also love Brahms. But I also think that it's good for me to sometimes split it up a little bit and not only play Chopin, but also get into some other eras, like classical era or impressionistic era, which we're going to cover later with Debussy. Yeah, but I'm not tired of Chopin, definitely not. If you had to describe your technique, like, or if you had to say, like, this composer fits me very well or fits my technique very well, which one would it be? Let me know in the comments. I think that's actually very interesting. I figured out that Chopin, Mendelssohn, Mozart, these are kind of like their nature and their technique really fit my technique very well. It's like very light, and it's not so heavy. Like Brahms is, for example, extremely heavy, and we don't have this kind of technique in Chopin so much. Electronduino is asking, will you ever play some Rachmaninoff pieces? I would love to, actually. I love Rachmaninoff. I just have to decide which pieces I'm going to play for my next program. But for now, I will stick to this program. It's super fresh, the program with the 4 ballades and Pathétique and Children's Corner. So I will stick to this for, let's say, a year, something like that. Until then, I am very secure with this program, and then I'll start to integrate more new pieces again. Yeah, so I see a lot of Rachmaninoff written here. People think that feel very much connected to Rachmaninoff, which I can totally understand. I love Rachmaninoff as well. Like he wrote mind-blowing good stuff. All right, I think we will continue now with playing. I've had quite a long break now. And we are going to continue with ballade number 3. It's a very special ballade because it's the only one with a happy end. So all these ballades are very, very tragic, and they all end with like an apocalypse. Apocalypse, right? Yeah. So the world is ending with all of these ballades, but the third ballade is different, and it's much more lighthearted. And what I imagine with it is kind of like, it's a little bit like a Cinderella story, kind of. So in the very beginning, to me, that's a very long introduction, and it's like it's drawing the setting that we are in. I imagine a beautiful landscape and a beautiful big castle that's like very, like it's like a Disney castle basically, and everyone is like excited because of the ball that's going to happen there, and so everyone is preparing for that ball, like dressing up beautifully, or people are preparing food and so on and so on. So it's very busy and full of excitement for that ball to happen. And this ball, I imagine that there is a guy, or the prince, let's say, who is searching for his future wife, for his princess, and he is dancing with a lot of different people. And this piece to me is like describing the character of these different people, or that feeling that he had with the different people that he was dancing with. And to me, the dance always happens when this theme starts. Sorry. And so on. So that to me sounds very much like a dance, especially if you take the pedaling very seriously. Now, I know that a lot of people will tell me, oh, that's way too dry the way that I'm playing it. To me, I would say, look into the scores. Chopin wrote a very special pedaling there, and he put it on purpose like that. What is also very interesting is that he's only writing it for that specific he's not only writing it for that specific time, but every time this theme starts, he's extra writing the pedal like that, which to me is a big sign of he really wanted to make sure that people are taking the pedal correctly and not just putting everything into pedal and make it sound more how do I say, more flowing, let's say. So the art here is to make it sound flowing without using too much pedal and having actually this kind of dancing feeling more. So the prince is searching for his princess, and the second time he's dancing with someone, he sees someone somewhere in the middle of the crowd who he thinks like he immediately has a feeling for, which to me is the part where you hear and so on and so on. And so he sees her in the room and he wants to get to know her, and he's coming closer and closer, and then he's asking her actually for a dance, and they are dancing, and it's like, it's pure magic. And then there's some drama happening, but in the end it's a happy end. So that's what I think of. That's what I think of the third Chopin ballade. Let me know in the comments what kind of story you imagine with this ballade, or if you can hear what I just explained as my interpretation. And then we'll start with Chopin ballade number 3. Okay. Uh, I'm sorry. I messed up my left hand a little bit at some point. Lotsu is saying, I honestly don't really like her pedal and her constant potato articulation. It breaks the environment and atmosphere and it's very rushed. I believed in some parts. Yeah, I was rushing in some parts. Now for the potato part, as I said before, I would recommend to read very carefully what is written in the scores, because I know that a lot of people are now used to the whole melody being played with a lot of pedal. However, it's not what's written there. And Chopin actually wrote a very, very like specific type of pedaling there, which is very against intuition, I would say. So this is why I believe that he really made sure that people are reading what is written there. However, most people don't read what is written. I really love that ballad, and I was thinking about playing the Debussy Suite Bergamasque after this ballad. However, after studying it for a while and then discovering that I believe something else fits even better, it was the Children's Corner by Debussy that I felt is even more suiting for what's coming after this ballad. Children's Corner by Debussy is the next piece on the program. I am going to play the full suite, and many people believe that Children's Corner is written for children and that it is like super easy stuff that children can play. And yes, technically there is not so much to do. Like, you don't have like super fast runs or arpeggios and repetitions or whatsoever, but still it's very, very difficult and challenging in another way. Debussy wrote this whole suite for his back then only 3-year-old daughter called Claude Emma, and he called her Chouchou at that time. And he wrote something very, very sweet in the beginning of the piece. What did he write? Oh my god, yes. Now, French, à ma chère petite chouchou, avec les tendres excuses de son père pour ce qui va suivre. What basically means something like, for my sweet chouchou, from her father, with all the excuses for what is coming. What is coming in her life, basically, which is very, very sweet. This dedication to his daughter, and these 6 pieces. We have Dr. Gradus ad Parnassum, Jimbo's Lullaby, Serenade for a Doll, The Snow is Dancing, Little Shepherd, and Gollywog's Cakewalk. These little 6 pieces are describing scenes out of childhood, basically. It's a little bit like Schumann's Kinderszenen. It's meant for adults to be played so they can look back into their childhood and dream a little bit. So the very first piece, Dr. Gradus ad Parnassum, is basically Debussy making fun of all these kind of finger exercises. So back then, I think Czerny was it who wrote the Gradus ad Parnassum, which is basically a finger exercise book where you can train your fingers with scales and arpeggios and whatsoever, so you can climb the Mount Parnassum. And with Dr. Gradus ad Parnassum, Debussy is making fun of it, like this is even harder than that. And in the beginning of the piece, you can actually hear this kind of exercise. It really sounds like an exercise at the beginning, but then Debussy starts to like dream and things start to flow around. It's a little bit like a child that is working on its finger exercises and really, really focused, and then at some point it just drifts away with its thoughts and goes into its fantasy world, basically. And then it's coming back and really focused again, and then it's drifting away. And like you can really feel how, like back then when I was smaller, and still now, I'm not like 100% focused all the time while I'm practicing. I'm also like sometimes more focused on memorizing, on practicing slowly, on articulation, on technique and whatsoever. And then I let go and just go with the flow, and I start to think of other things, like what am I going to eat tonight and stuff like that. So that's the very first piece. Then the second piece is very special, and people that are not used to listen to modern music, let's say modern classical music, they might think that it's a very strange piece. However, I love it. It's Jimbo's Lullaby, and it's basically about the elephant Jimbo with the big ears, and the elephant like basically wants to go to sleep, or should go to sleep, and the mother is singing the lullaby, and it has some very, very interesting harmonies, and you can see and hear, you can hear how like in the beginning you hear the melody, the main melody of the lullaby, and then you can hear how the baby elephant is just falling more and more into sleep, and then we are entering the dream world of that baby elephant, basically. A super sweet piece. I love it. Then we have the third piece, which is the Serenade for a Doll, and I hear very much a guitar imitation there. Like with all these repetitions, and it feels a little bit like you're pulling the strings. That's also a very sweet piece. Then we have The Snow is Dancing, and you can imagine a little bit like the first time that you ever saw snow falling. Hopefully you saw it at some point. I don't know, maybe actually my mom in Taiwan, she never saw snow falling until she came to Germany, and for her it was like really a huge discovery to see the snow falling and to feel this coldness, but it's beautiful, especially when you're inside of the house and you don't have to put the snow away anymore. And as a child you see this magical world that we are turning into in winter time. Everything is white, everything is cold, a little bit mysterious, but also beautiful, and that's this piece. Then we have Little Shepherd, which is, I believe, a quite famous piece. If you think of I guess you might have heard that theme somewhere. It's a super cute piece, and to me it's a little bit like experiencing the big world, as like the first time you're discovering that you're kind of alone in a big world as a child. That's the feeling that I get when I play this piece. And then at the end, Gollywog's Cakewalk. Gollywog was a doll that is, from today's perspective, extremely racist. It was a black doll, a marionette, basically. So you would play a marionette a little bit like this, and you can see that same technique here in the piece. So we have. And you see like this kind of technique that is used here is a little bit like playing this marionette doll. Yeah, I have done a reel about if it's racist or not. I honestly believe we should still play this kind of music and just be very aware of these things that today are definitely not okay, and they shouldn't have been okay back then as well. But it's part of the history, and it's part of the story of this piece, and I think this Children's Corner is a masterpiece. And also Gollywog's Cakewalk is a beautiful piece. I personally don't see anything racist if I hear it. However, of course, it has a racist background. But let me know in the comments what you think about the whole story, or about the whole backstory of this. And then we have the beautiful mid part of this piece. Which is, this melody is basically the starting of Tristan und Isolde by Richard Wagner. And actually, Debussy was a huge fan of Wagner. However, it changed at some point, also because of his, Wagner was extremely, I guess you know what Wagner was. I don't have to explain it here. And Debussy was very much against his point of views here. And so he was mocking him in that middle part, and he was making fun of Tristan and Isolde. And really you can hear this laughter afterwards that he's putting directly after the theme. So yeah, we have Debussy, Children's Corner, 6 little pieces. Let me know in the comments which one of them is your favorite. All right, that was Children's Corner. Let me know in the comments. I was able to read a little bit next to it. So I figured out that some of you were a little bit confused at which piece we are right now and at which part. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little trip into French Impressionism. It is a very special piece, and I admit that there are some pieces that are like you really have to be an adult to understand these pieces. I feel like otherwise, I think there are like especially like something like the Jimbo's Lullaby. That's so abstract, but I love that piece, and I love each and every piece out of this suite. All right, we are coming to the finale of the whole concert, which is going to end with the fourth ballade of Chopin, and this fourth ballade, to me, it hits completely different than all the other previous ballades. So for everyone that's new in the live stream, I'm preparing for my upcoming concert this Saturday in Milano. I'm going to play on the 19th of July all Chopin ballades and Beethoven's Pathétique, as well as the suite Children's Corner by Debussy that you just heard. Tickets information you'll find in the description box. And yeah, I enjoyed this live stream very much. Thank you very much for joining me here today. I will have a little bit of time and talk with you after I finished the last ballade. Obviously, this is a rehearsal. So there are things that I still have to work on. And also on Saturday, it won't be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And I just wanted to let you know, guys, of course, I'm working a lot on these pieces and I'm practicing hours every day, just like all the other professional pianists. However, it's never going to be perfect. We are not robots. We're not machines. And the beauty of a live concert is to struggle, actually, and to feel the moment in that specific moment and to try to make something beautiful out of it. My goal is always to achieve like at least one or two magical moments in a concert. I know that I won't be perfect. I know that there will be wrong notes. I know that my brain might be struggling at some points and that I have to catch myself back on track and just push through. However, to me, the most important thing is that I want to make music and I want to create that magical moment at least once in a concert. And that's, to me, that's the goal. I will never be satisfied after a concert, but I'll be happy if I created a beautiful moment, at least. All right, now I will continue with number 4. And number 4 is, it's so deep and it's so depressive. I want to do a little disclaimer here, because in my interpretation of this piece, I feel like it's so depressive that it's going a little bit into like, oh, I don't know if I can say it on YouTube, but just as a little disclaimer, if you're feeling extremely lonely and if you're thinking of like ending your life or something, please get help. You're not alone on this world. And to me, this piece is a little bit going in this direction. It's so dark in many ways. It starts bright and it starts like a beautiful memory of something. And then immediately it's turning into this depressive thoughts that are turning around and you can't get out of it. And to me, this whole ballade hits different because In the first three ballads, it's a little bit like a third person looking at the story and telling the story. While the fourth ballad, to me, it feels a lot like Chopin is telling his own story and he's sharing his raw emotions with us. This is why I feel like this is so different from all the other ballads. Now, to me, I think in the beginning he is starting to turn around. That theme is coming back again, and again, and it's never ending, kind of. And it's a little bit like these bad thoughts that are turning in your head all the time, and there is no way out of it. And it's getting worse and worse, and like very chaotic. And then we have this beautiful second theme that to me is like a little bit like this first idea of I don't know, of kind of ending the whole thing by like, it's a little bit like, have you ever heard of El König, the King? Like the beautiful voices, the beautiful angels that are calling for him. And it's like this freedom that he feels in that moment, and that like finally it's over kind of feeling, and then he falls back into all these dark thoughts, and yeah, things are getting crazy, and it's more and more turning down. And then we have directly before the coda, so before the last storm happens, we have this, the calmness of these chords. It's a little bit like from the outside everything looks nice and everything looks fine and calm, but from the inside that person is like tearing apart, and it's so chaotic inside of that person. And directly after, like all the chaos is happening inside of that person. And yeah, at the end there is no other way than, you know, it's Chopin. It's like, it's always a tragic end. Now, to me, as I said before, if you have any thoughts like that, please go and get help, or share it with your piano. There's always someone that listens to you. That's your instrument, and hopefully also some people around you. I just think that this is like one of the darkest pieces that Chopin ever composed. And yeah, I'm looking forward to play this now. Let me know in the comments what you think about this piece, what your idea, what your interpretation is of this piece. I'm really interested in that. All right, that was the full program of the concert that I'm going to play on Saturday. I'm pretty done now. I hope you enjoyed the full live stream. I know now what I have to work on until Saturday. There are a lot of things that I have to recap, and yeah. I don't know really why I have to get so much hate for playing drier than other interpretations. I know that it's different, and I can definitely talk about my interpretation and explain why I'm using the pedal the way that I'm using it. Oh, by the way, there is also one big reason why I'm using so less pedal, which is if I'm playing in that big concert hall like the one in Milano on Saturday, the hall itself is going to be giving a lot of reverb to the sound. So I have to be extra careful with the pedal, and it's always easier inside the hall to give more pedal and to just adjust the pedal by giving more pedal into the playing than taking out pedal. That's at least my experience. Now, for my interpretation, I believe I want to really understand what Chopin wrote, and I take it very seriously what's written inside the scores. Now, some people do not take the pedal markings as seriously as I do, but then you're going to hear much more pedal most of the time. So yeah, that's just my opinion, because I hear a lot of, I see a lot of comments hating me for using so less pedal. Honestly, first of all, it's much more difficult to play with less pedal because it's more clean like that, and you can hear all the unevenness here and there. So yeah, that's just my interpretation. The interpretation is never fixed. There's going to be a lot of change during the next weeks and months and years, and maybe in 10 years I'm not going to play it that dry anymore, but that's how I feel this piece right now, and I stand by it. Yeah, that's just my take on the pedaling. But let me know which of these ballades are your favorites. Have you ever played one of the ballades? And yeah, are you coming to Milano? By the way, for everyone that is interested, I'm coming to Milano on the 19th of July, so it's already this Saturday. I'm going to play all the 4 Chopin ballades and the Pathétique by Beethoven, as well as the sweet Children's Corner by Debussy. I've played all of this today in the right order. Tickets and information you will still find in the link in the description box. And yeah, now I'm not like, now I see all these comments about the critics. I'm not against critics. I'm always open. I always want to know what people actually think about the interpretation. Yes, the interpretation is probably not like 100% there yet, where I want it to be. This is why I'm not recording the ballades yet. I do still think that less pedal is sometimes more, and because Chopin wrote it that way, I feel like I want to enhance that a little bit more, especially because I never heard anyone playing it with less pedal. So that's like my perspective on this, but still, I want to get critics. I want to know, okay, I'm rushing here. Is this good? Is this not good? The pedal thing as well, I need to get the critics. Or do people actually enjoy it? But then again, since people know the ballades, of course, they have a very, how do you say? You already know how it's supposed to sound like, because you've heard it in so many different recordings already, and you probably already have your favorite recording, so it's extremely difficult for me to come up with something, especially if it's something different than what you're used to hear. You immediately get this, oh, I don't like it feeling. That's I think what often happens. Francesco Motta is asking, what do you think of your piano after using it for quite a lot of time? So this one is a pretty new one. I got it, 4 years ago, something like that. So it's a Boston Grand Piano 215. It's the biggest Boston of their Grand Piano series. And it's sponsored by Steinway, which I'm honestly extremely happy about, because there are regularly people coming to do the service on this one. However, of course, I mean, you can probably also hear it. It's a little bit out of tune right now, because in Germany, or at least here at this part of Germany, it's right now raining a lot, and then it's super hot and super dry, and then it's raining a lot, and so on. So it's like the weather itself is very unstable, and the room where I am at, I need to open the windows all the time, otherwise I'm going to die. It's like super hot here. Luckily, you can't smell how it's smelling inside of this room right now, because after a concert like that, I'm like sweating like hell. I don't even want to know how it's smelling right now here. um, Francesco Motta is writing, I bought a new one last year, same Boston GP. Oh, that's cool. Congratulations. Yeah, I love this instrument. I honestly believe that like a grand piano that's bigger than 2 meters is like, it's just hitting different than my old grand piano. It's over there. You can't see it. I love that one as well. It's a Yamaha C2. I think it was like 175 centimeters, something like that, or 77. I don't know. It's probably around the same height as, like the same length as I'm high. Yeah, it's very different. The sound, if you want to, especially if you want to play loud, it's so different because the smaller one is starting to scream at some point, while this one is like really taking all the volume with it. So I enjoy it a lot to play on this one and to practice on this one. But yeah, then again, it's of course completely different to play on a Steinway D like on this Saturday in Milano. What else do we have here? What's up with the dragon on the piano? That's actually a really cool thing. So it's like a sticker that like, you know, these famous videos where people are putting like extreme colors with stickers on their cars. So like they cover the whole car with like a huge sticker that's protecting the car basically also. Most of the times in crazy colors. And Steinway told me that they can do this with pianos as well. And so we thought last year was the dragon year. Was it? Yes, last year was the dragon year, the Chinese, in Chinese signs, zodiac signs. And so I asked them if we can put a dragon inside, and here it is. It's super cool, actually. Actually, we wanted to change it. Like, initially, we wanted to change it every couple of months. But then again, I was such a big fan of that dragon and how it came out that I didn't want to change it anymore. But let me know, what would you put inside the piano? Let me know. Maybe you have some cool ideas, and I'll ask Steinway if you can change the picture inside of my piano. But yeah, so basically, if I close the piano, it looks like a completely normal piano. It's completely black, and only if I open it, you'll see this cool dragon thing. It's a little bit like a hidden tattoo, if you want, which I think is super cool. Edwin Peterson is asking, can you please make a video on how to bring out voices on the piano? I need help. I mean, yes. Voicing is one of the most difficult things at the piano because you don't want to push too hard. I can give you small little tips that hopefully will already help you now. First of all, use the weight of your arm. Don't push with the finger especially. The more you try to push, like I'll do a very easy example. So when you play, you see how cramped and tensed everything is, and it doesn't sound nice. So we want to use the weight of the arm, and everything else is super relaxed. You see how relaxed everything is here, and I'm basically through the wrist, I'm controlling how much weight I'm putting into the key. I don't really like the word pushing because it's always like going into the piano. However, we want to take it out of the piano. And so that's one thing, using the weight of your arm, staying relaxed, and then also try to orientate yourself on the other voices. So for example, with this etude, we have 4 voices, the main melody, then we have the middle voice, and then we have the bass, and then we have the middle bass, so tenor. So everything together is going to be... Now I'm orientating on the voice that is the softest of them, basically. So for example, if I say the middle voice, that one is the softest, and I want to say everything else is louder than this middle voice. So I'll try to play the middle voice as soft as possible in a relaxed way. So I don't want to force it to be soft, like this is never going to hold for a long while because it's not relaxed. So try to play this middle voice in a relaxed way, but soft, and then everything else just needs to be louder than that. And then everything is relaxed. So it's on the one hand simple, on the other hand, of course, you have to just get a feeling for it, and that like the first steps are also often very difficult with every technique. All right, I would say I'll answer 3 more questions before I do that, just for everyone that's new in the chat, that's new in the live stream. I'm coming to Milano on 19th July, this Saturday. I'm going to play all 4 Chopin ballades, as well as the Beethoven Pathétique and the suite Children's Corner by Debussy. You'll find information and tickets in the link in the description box. I played the whole program today in this live stream, and I enjoyed it very much. Now I need to rest a little bit to get ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow I will have to practice very hard so I can get rid of a lot of mistakes that I did today until Saturday. Now, Elizabeth Milosh is asking, how do you manage stress before a concert? It always depends a little bit on what kind of stress you feel. So if you feel like you're stressed because of like you're scared to go on stage and to perform in front of an audience, then what I like to do is just go in front of a mirror and tell yourself again and again and again, and just look straight into the mirror, straight into your eyes, and tell yourself that you can do it. It's a lot about pushing yourself and like really motivating yourself and tell yourself you can do it. You've practiced so much. What can go wrong? Of course, a lot of things can go wrong, but there will always something be wrong on stage. As I said before, there's never going to be the perfect concert. You will always be unsatisfied. There will be perfect moments, like magical moments, but this might be only a few seconds and then it's over. But the concert itself is like 2 hours or longer, and you can't be perfect for 2 hours straight. That's just not possible. We are all human. So maybe the first step would be to just give yourself a little bit more of a relaxation and tell yourself, you know, you've practiced so much. But even professionals, I don't know anyone who would disagree with me, honestly, from all my colleagues. As soon as you go on stage, you have to count with at least 10% that are not working in the way that you've practiced it. Just as today, I struggled with a lot of parts that I've never struggled with before. And I was surprised in that moment because, I didn't know that I would struggle here. So I have to come up with solutions right in that moment. However, I always, when I enter the stage, I always know there can be things go wrong, and most probably things will go wrong at some point. I just have to find a right way to get out of it. Now, to find the right way to get out of it, this is experience. Like, try to play as much as possible on stage. I always tell myself the first 10 concerts with a new program do not count for me because it's so fresh. Like, I'm so so focused on getting things correct that if I'm lucky, I can enjoy it, but most of the time I can't really enjoy it the first 10 times, and then I start to enjoy it actually on stage. So yeah, what I like to do is to tell myself mistakes are like a good old friend. You know that they are going to be there. And when I walk on stage, it's a little bit like taking them by the hand, because they are going to be with you on stage. The mistakes are going to be with you, and you just have to treat them as your friends, not your enemies. You will get better because of making mistakes, not because you avoid them. Roby Tech Pro is asking, do you have any advice to play in a concert without warming up? I'm having that problem in my university where it is just one piano and we can't warm up before playing for the concert. Well, honestly, I think playing a concert without warming up is actually pretty dangerous, because especially if you're playing more like fast program, very virtuoso program, your arm and the whole muscles that are working here, they should be warm, and like your wrist should be flexible. So if you don't have the possibility to play on a piano backstage, then do some warm-up exercises away from the piano. So for example, what I like to do is to just circle my wrists to get them warm. You can do this in different speeds. You can do this very fast, but I would advise to do it very slow, so you're very aware of every movement that you do and you're not like overstretching something. And as soon as you feel like your wrists are warm, like do this for like a minute or something, and you'll feel your wrists are starting to get warm and flexible. Then you can include your arm as well. So I like to do this kind of circular movement, because this is also what I'm going to do at the piano. So always I'm starting here next to my body, and then I go out and come back. And I continue turning my wrists just in one like circular movement basically. So everything is nice and flowing. And this helps me a lot to just get warm behind the scenes. Then I also like to sit down or just use my lap or a tabletop or something where I can do like some finger exercises. For example, Hanon. I'm just playing like one Hanon exercise and with different rhythms, yada da yada da yada da yada da, and then with different articulation, da da da, and so on. So I'm starting to get warm even without an instrument. I would really recommend to get warm, because like the performance can't be good. You will never be able to get the best performance out of you if you're not warm. So yeah. Tata is asking, will you come to America? I am planning to. Like I was planning to do this for a very long time. Honestly, right now I have to first get through the next wave of concerts. I'm going to play a couple of concerts in Germany, in Bonn at the Beethoven House, in Münster with Steinway together. We have planned something, and then next year, February, I'm going to play in Hamburg at the Leishalle. I'm looking forward to that already. Then I'm also going to play in Paris on November 1st this year. What else? Oh, actually, we are planning to do a little masterclass in Düsseldorf this year. So stay tuned, especially on Instagram. I will share more information there. We are going to do a masterclass at Steinway and Sons in Düsseldorf, probably. I'll share more information as soon as I get them. Most probably is going to be at end of September, so it's actually already soon. Yeah. Anyways, the places for a masterclass are limited, so if you're interested, definitely stay tuned. Now for America, I hope to go there in 2027 latest. If possible, I would love to come next year already, but I'm working on it. Like I can't promise anything yet. I see a lot of Poland in the comments, actually. Now, I am not sure how many followers are actually in Poland that are following my channel. However, I will search for maybe a smaller venue, so I can play in Poland as well. I would love to play in Poland because, I mean, it's it's Chopin's country. Come on, I have to go there, and I have to say Dzień dobry again. I really love when I studied in Warsaw. I enjoyed very much how people were talking in Polish. I didn't understand a word, and but I could see how the language is influencing the music of Chopin a lot, and yeah, so many things changed while I was studying in Warsaw. My perspective on Chopin and his pieces, so much. Okay, last question for today. Can you give some advice on octave runs and jumps? Okay, octave runs are difficult because most of the people get the wrong technique. Most of the time people tend to push into the piano instead of taking it out of the piano. So if I'm playing, it should feel like very light and not like into the piano, but more like out of the piano. You see the difference is like I'm already on the key and I'm just jumping away. And I would really recommend to practice this a lot slowly, like super slow, until you really get into this feeling of I'm already on the key preparing and then I'm going away from it. Now, the faster you play, the more it's going to look like I'm just falling into the piano. This is why I always recommend don't look too much at how professionals are playing piano, because you never see all the details in the movement in a fast tempo, and the movements do change a little bit with a faster tempo. We practice in a very different way than like there's no control like that and we are not hitting our instrument. That's not good for it. So try to always make sure that you are going away from the piano and practice this super slow until you get used to this wrist movement as well. And then you can, for example, if you play repetitions on one octave, you will at some point feel how you're getting one with the key. The keys are always trying to go up, and your hand should not try to push it down. It should like feel the movement of the key, and they should come together. I don't know how to say it, how to describe it in English, honestly. But just try to feel the impulse coming out of the key and vibe together. And the same counts for the runs, basically. Now for jumps, preparation is key. You have to prepare. Don't just fall into the keys. This will never go well. It will always either sound bad or you're going to hit wrong keys. I'm also someone who has to remind myself of it all the time, especially when I'm playing faster. I have to really make sure that I'm preparing well. Otherwise, there are some wrong notes, which I don't want to have there. Today as well, while I was playing, I was like, oh damn, I didn't practice. I didn't prepare it well, and this is why it sounded off. So yeah, preparation is key. All right. I think that's enough for today. I'm super tired. Oh, just one last question. Franek Pikas is asking, what are your favorite pianists? My favorite pianists are Marta Argerich, Evgeny Kissin, and Christian Zimmermann. I love these three. They are Rubinstein as well. Oh, I could name many more, but I would say these four are definitely my big idols. And yeah. That let me know which your favorite pianists are. And I hope to see you guys in Milano. As I said before, you'll find all the information and also tickets in the link in the description box. And I'm going to play all 4 Chopin ballades, the Pathétique Sonata, and also Children's Corner by Debussy. It was so much fun to do this live stream today. I think I will do another live stream the upcoming days as a preparation. The final rehearsal, maybe in a couple of days. And then it's time to perform in Milano. See you guys and bye.